Hi there, folks. Simon here. Welcome to the 2023 Beginner TAC Tournament of Q2 or of April, however we want to do it right now. We are about to watch the semifinals match between NameOfStone and reilley. Now, both of these players have had some previous tournament experience. In the case of, I believe this is reilley. Yeah, reilley. Reilley has played in Will's Halloween Madness, which was a sort of exhibition tournament at the end of last year, and also played in the TAC League in the Division 2 in the very first and so far only TAC League season that we've had. So played in both of those, and then we get NameOfStone played in the August 2022 beginner tournament. So they both have experience, but in different types of tournaments. I'd say NameOfStone has the more regular tournament experience. However, if we look here, and this is the PlayTac ratings now, NameOfStone rated at 1556 rating, but if we go up here, we can see reilley at 1599. So, how does that translate to a beginner tournament game and skill levels? I have no idea. I guess we're going to have to find that out in the next couple minutes. But reilley and NameOfStone are going to be playing against each other in this tournament. And just like all the games in this tournament, they are played on a 6x6 board with, I believe it's 15 minutes on the clock with a 10-second increment. And no Comey. And if you don't know what Comey is, don't worry about it. We're not using it. Doesn't matter. So we are going to be jumping into that. And we are playing two games in this match. And that is playing one at each different color. So each one will play as white. Each one will play as black. And we can see here their first game is up. NameOfStone will be in white. reilley will be in black. Let's make sure everything is right. Yes, all correct. We are good to go. They are good to go. All that's left is for us to watch them play. So, without any further ado whatsoever, let's jump right into Game 1 of NameOfStone versus reilley. All right, we see A6 coming out first. Now, the common approach here is either to do opposite or adjacent corners. We are seeing adjacent corners drop. And then NameOfStone going straight for that center control. Interesting placement from reilley going here at C5. I think we might see a D5 placement now to kind of cut off white from going for that vertical. And that's exactly what happens. Black is building for this horizontal road now and also cutting off white's ability to make that vertical. Now, black does have momentum at this point, but that early capstone from white is in a pretty solid position. Normally you would see something like this from black, but black was able to get that momentum early on before the capstone was even dropped. So I think we're going to see white eventually come up onto C5 with their capstone in order to make some sort of threat here. So what black needs to do is be thinking about what they're going to do in response. And I think we see exactly what they're going for. Playing down here at E4 allows that flat to come left onto D4 and sort of cut that off even after this capstone comes up. What he needs to be worried about, though, is if white does get a flat on D6, then comes over with their own capstone onto D4 for the self-capture, that would be a really big problem. Not the case anymore, though, because black has dropped that capstone at C3. Capstone is now able to jump over onto D3 and basically ruin all of the vertical that white has been building for this whole time. So a good transition there. Unfortunately, had to leave a lot of their resources up at the top behind and kind of disconnected from their own capstone. So that becomes a bit of a problem. We'll see how they figure this out. White playing up at C6. Now this works for a few reasons. So C6 is so they can come up with the capstone or place at B5 and make a threat, but also it works for a horizontal up along the top, connecting over to F6 eventually. Black not taking any time, not even attack threat from white. Black comes over with a capstone right away. This does open up white to be able to drop down here at C3 and sort of make that connection down below, but instead building across, kind of going for this horizontal thread up above, and also keeping black from being able to make that vertical connection up there. A lot of stuff going on here early. It's tough to say who's in the lead right now. I like black's position a little bit more at the moment, but white has a lot of room to come ahead in just the next few moves. And so black is making the connection here, going for that horizontal line, playing up above. This can get cut off easily by white's capstone. However, black can also go for the horizontal connecting through the capstone by placing over at E3 or by coming down with D5. Both of those do work just fine for that. So I don't think it would be too crazy to see that if black were to play at E3, for example. Right here, I think maybe a B6 or an A5. I like A5 a little bit more just because you know that white's going to be building for that horizontal line if they get that A5 in. But he does go for the B6. Now, white can play at A5 or at E6. They don't want to do E6, I don't think. I think they want to do A5. The reason for that is because if white doesn't play A5, black can play A5 to make their own horizontal threat. However, now we've got white coming up with the capstone to cut off that horizontal line, but also to make their own beginnings of that horizontal threat, like I was talking about a second ago. This is now where black needs to be a little bit wary. I think playing a flat up at E6 is probably the play to make. E6 or A5, both of those work okay. I think E6 is a little bit stronger in this position. It also makes sort of a vertical connection here for black, which is something that could really help out later on down the road. Does go for the E6 placement. White from here may decide to just drop at C4, C3, C2. Any of those work towards that vertical line. Or could decide to play over at A5. There are quite a few options at this point. F5, I don't really like that much here. I think white should just try to continue building for some flats. Black does have momentum here, though, and that can be a problem. Oh no, technically white has momentum here because white can play here, here, and here, and in 3 turns get the road. Black would have to play here, here, and here 3 turns, but white had that first move, so now we're seeing no threat here. But if I'm black, I'm probably going to play at E3 and just go for this vertical. I know that white wants to make this horizontal threat. They've got the anchor point in. But they're going to have to make some flat-on-flat captures if they want that to happen. And if you watched the captures video of Tech University, you will know that flat-on-flat captures, not the greatest thing for you to do, especially early on in the game, which, I mean, we're only at move 11 right now. It's fairly early. And you'll notice that both of these players have been fairly good. No flat-on-flat captures made this entire game. The only captures have been made by the capstone. So no liabilities created by capturing with those other flats and flat stones. That's kept them in a much better position, I'd say. But still a lot to look out for. Black taking his time now. I am not so sure about that move. There was no threat, and that flat-on-flat capture really just puts black in a bit of a troublesome position. White likely just going to place here at D5. Yeah, that does... I'm not sure what the thought process was on that move. I think black really needed to focus on going for this this vertical, playing here at E3. It also would have worked towards a horizontal for black, also, but Now white has that wall there. Yeah, this is not looking too great for black. White is in a much stronger position now. I think that big move here, that d5 plus move, was a huge blunder, and that could cost, and that is costing black a lot of position and a lot of momentum in this game right now. And if you're wondering why I said d5 plus, over here off to the left we see the portable tack notation, or PTN, and that's how we describe moves. And you can learn all about that on the PTN, or portable tack notation, video of Tack University. So here we go, black dropping at f5. Really doesn't want white to be able to make this horizontal threat. White is now building here at c4. This is going for that vertical. Black, I'd say, should play it here at c3. Now, they don't have a lot going in that horizontal direction. However, this is a beginner tournament, and it is very easy to miss certain types of moves. One of these types of moves would be, let's say black eventually places here c3, b3, a3. Well, that's a threat because d6 can throw 2d6 minus 1, 1, which is take this whole stack, drop one white flat, and one black flat to complete the threat. This, however, is very, very bad for black because now white can come up with the capstone and recover that liability, and also recover the liabilities over here, making very strong positive flat count differential moves. Flat count differential moves being moves that increase your the difference between your flat count and your opponent's flat count by more than 1 is typically what we mean by flat count differential moves. Because dropping one flat is plus 1 flat count. However, capturing onto this and then being able to spread that stack to the right, dropping a white here and the capstone here, would eliminate 2 black flats and add an additional white flat. So that would be a plus 3 flat count differential move, which is very, very powerful. White's not going for it, however. It almost seems like a no-brainer at this point to go for it, but white is not taking that bait. Potentially it's bait. Black was trying to make a threat up here. That's what it was. I mean, b6 was a threat, but it was just so easily thwarted by that capstone, or just a flat placement. But the capstone capture was just very, very, very tempting, and I can't imagine there was a better move to play there besides that capture up with the capstone. That's going to be tough. But white now playing at b6. Black should drop at c3 here. To continue, go for this horizontal, build something. Because this threat up here is not going to happen. They need to sort of cut their losses up there and stop trying to go for this. They've already built up a situation where white's going to be able to capture up onto c6, capture right onto d6, and make another tack threat with their capstone. And potentially get a Tinue, which is not where you want to be. Not where you want to be if you're black. White playing at b3. Looks like they don't want black to be making that horizontal connection. And them placing here at b3 also works towards their own vertical. So, no problem there. I really do think, though, that a capture up onto c6 is going to happen at some point, and it's going to be brutal. Now, I think black is trying to set up for something where black can capture up and then capture over onto b6. I don't think that's the right play. This is now a attack threat from white. White can place here at c2 for the win. Black captures up to stop it. White captures over. This is now attack threat in the vertical direction yet again. Black cannot capture left with this capstone. Dropping a flat, probably not a flat actually, dropping a wall here would be what you want to do. Black needs to drop a wall here at c2. That would stop the road threat and also allow black to be able to capture up onto c3 and recover that liability there. Black instead captures right. White's just going to capture up with one of those flats onto b6. Stops the threat, renews their own threat. Now if black does come left with c6, to c6, then white's going to come up with b5, recapture it, then have that big stack to work with. Can either spread down or spread right. Spreading right would be a lot stronger. So what that... Okay, I think I see what's going to happen here. If black does capture to the right with this stack, white's capstone is going to be able to come up and capture that huge stack, which is very strong. I do not see a way that black is going to be able to get out of this in this game and come out on top. This seems just like a guaranteed victory for white at this point. So I think what white needs to do is come up with just the capstone from c5. Leave behind that black flat, come up with just the capstone so that he can spread this down. And he would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my goodness. A wall instead, not moving the capstone. I don't know why he's not making the capture. Why is that capstone not capturing that stack? That is a mystery to me at this point. I think that one of the things that happens a lot in some of these beginner tournament games is that you will see people be hesitant to make these kind of moves. They do seem very unintuitive to a newer player, specifically because you're leaving behind one of your opponent's flats to make this. And you may be thinking that that's not even an option at this point because you're thinking, I have to capture up with my whole stack in order to make this work. Black now going for the vertical. Now this is the point where this vertical does not really have much of a chance of success. White comes right with b6, captures this huge stack now, spreads to the right, and destroys any ability of black to continue that vertical threat. Not only destroys black's chance of making that vertical threat, but also creates their own vertical threat. So now white's gonna spread this stack to the right, cover up d6 and e6, destroy this vertical threat that black has. Black can smash this wall for a road, but white spreading this to the right completely destroys that. I think black is just kind of going for a Hail Mary at this point, kind of throwing something out there, see if it works, even though the odds are really slim. Probably just doesn't see any other way out of this situation. Yep, the spread occurs. The threat is renewed for the vertical direction. Playing at c2 would be a road. Now, if c2 is blocked by a wall, for example, all that needs to happen is white plays at a5, and then that's Tinue. There's nothing really that black can do in this situation. The game is over. White plays at a5 if they see it. They might not see it. But if white plays a5, they win. It would be Tinue. It would be a road threat from which there is no escaping. Because what would happen, let's say a5 gets dropped from white. Black, the only way they have to do it is come up with e5. So if they come up with e5, you get 4d6 to the right. That renews the threat. And the threat is to bring 2 from this f6 spot down. And that's it. That's the road. There's nothing that black can do about this right now. Their only delaying move, like I said, is e5 plus. However, this is important to note. White can mess this up. If he does e5 plus here, and white comes left with the wall, black can stop it. So white has to come right with the d6 stack. Because if white comes left with the wall, black can drop a wall. Oh, nope, they saw it. So they're not messing it up. This is a win for white. So Name of Stone wins game 1 of this 2-game match. However, not all hope is lost. Reilley can still win game 2 playing as white. And if he does that, they will go on to the blitz tiebreaker between the two of them in order to determine who goes on to the finals of this beginner tournament. Just playing out the last few moves, and that is over. Well played to both players, and congratulations to Name of Stone for winning game 1. And that is all for today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is the community hub, and where you can find all sorts of TAC resources like strategy guides and people to play with, whether that be right here on playtac.com or asynchronously in the Discord server itself. Lots and lots of great resources there and great people to play with. So be sure to check that out. And until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.